All right, folks, how's it going? Man, we got some beautiful weather out here in Las Vegas today, man. Over the last 2 days, it's been, I don't know, between 75 and about 87, 86, something like that. Almost too hot. We're going to get into the hundreds probably in about another month. By the time we get to Memorial Day, it'll probably be that. And then once we get to June 15th, usually about 115, 120, about 117, 118. Believe it or not, the hottest part of the year here in Las Vegas is actually June, between the 15th and the 30th, because it could get as close to 120 degrees, especially if y'all been out there to Hoover Dam. Yeah, that's easily 120, okay? Out there, no buildings running inside of, none of that, okay? All right, let's get right into here about Phil Jackson. All right, a lot of y'all known him, from when he coached in the NBA. He's a character in his own. All right, he's won 11 championships as a head coach. And actually, I didn't know that he won two championships as a player. I know he won one when he was with New York, but he won two in New York. I didn't know that. The first one, I remember the guy, he was limping, and it wasn't him, but it was another guy. He was limping as he was playing and so forth, and ended up beating those guys with a bum knee or bum ankle. But yeah, so he's probably the greatest coach that ever will coach the NBA. I don't know if that record will be broken again. Okay. Steve Kerr and Popovich, they may come close. Popovich is the NBA winningest NBA, if not already. But as far as in championships, I don't think that's going to be broken. So Phil Jackson's like the Bill Russell of NBA. Well, lately there's been a lot of stuff coming out about Phil Jackson, about he may be a racist. All right, that, for example, Scottie Pippen had attested that Phil Jackson may be a racist. Also, Ori had said the same thing. Okay, that said Phil Jackson made a comment while they were in the huddle when he played for the Lakers about something about listening to your master or something to that effect. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Here's what I want to tell you before I get into what I think. Lately, there was an interview that Phil Jackson did about how he feels about the NBA now, and he doesn't watch the NBA because a lot to do with what happened in 2020 with the Black Lives Matter thing. Okay, and I guess the direction that the NBA is going. Okay, and also today's players, the type of game that they played today. I just think, man, that when I watch the game, I'm really, really astonished, man, on the talent that these guys got. They can touch their chest against the rim. They can hit 30-foot or half-court shots. I was really, really impressed at that Sacramento and Golden State game last night. How talented those young guys are, and it's like, man, they get to do stuff that we don't get to do. When I played, you played your role, okay? You might have got to play another position, but you're gonna hit a 3-pointer. Like when I played center at 6'5" and a half at the time. If you shoot a 3-pointer, you better make it. Okay? It was only guards supposed to do that. Okay, maybe the swing man, but now players get to showboat now. Okay, it's more like a Euro style game, fast break 3-pointers. Okay, but let me tell you this. I think that Phil Jackson, him growing up in Montana. Okay, I don't know if y'all know the story about him growing up in Montana, playing in Montana. University of Montana basketball. Phil Jackson probably ain't never ran into a black dude until he probably got into college. Okay, so he may have some I don't know complexitive issues. All right, can I say racist? No, but maybe complexitive issues. You know, maybe it could be one of those things is he could get flashbacks, and maybe it could be one of the things where that's usually what he's used to seeing. And maybe if he doesn't see a black person, a so-called black person, act in a certain way, then that may bring him back flashbacks. All right. It's just like where I'm from. Okay, coming up in all black, growing up in Hampton, Norfolk, Virginia, being an all black, growing up, in community, then being going to a black college. But when I went to high school, it was a white high school, predominantly white. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe I had some complexive issues and I didn't realize it. Okay, it was like a culture shock almost. Not saying that I didn't know any white people before I got there, but you know, I don't know what to say. You can think whatever you want to think. Okay, I'm just thinking also when he came, like say when he started playing basketball, like in the late '60s, when they had, civil rights was going on and stuff like that. They still hadn't signed the second civil rights movement. The first civil rights movement act was signed. Okay, and when they actually these guys like Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Jim Brown, when there was actually something in conjunction with that to protest for, okay, maybe he sees things in a certain way. All right, so he's probably used to seeing somebody black or so-called black a certain way from the time era that he was in. See, so my time era is different. Probably if you're in a time era like with Jay Morant, or I don't know, Jason Tatum, and those guys, okay, that their time era is different. Okay, so maybe he's just used to seeing a so-called black man being a certain way. All right, and also that I think as far as with the BLM about he doesn't watch the game anymore because of that. I think that they made the BLM in the NBA too dramatical. You see, in the NFL, I think they did a fairly decent job trying to keep that BLM at bay. There was times where they had commercials or they did protests, like maybe in between quarters or when they had the national anthem and that type of stuff. They throw up a fist sign or they probably had a little BLM thing on, going, but they did not encompass it with football. You see, there's got to be a time where there's either wokeism or sports, wokeism or your job, and that applies to any Fortune 500 company. I believe. See, the NBA is a player-ran group or organization. It's just that the commissioner is there to mediate it and to handle any type of complex issues that the players or the Players Association, I guess can't, or if it's too big, or if he's called upon. Like, and see, in 2020, there wasn't no fans in the crowd or whatever. Okay, so they used the BLM when they had the BLM stretched all across. They had put the curtains over over the seats and all that. But what was it more about? Was it about BLM or basketball? And I think it turned a lot of people off. It probably turned Phil Jackson off. That's what I'm thinking. But the game is the game, okay? The game has evolved, and Phil Jackson knows it. From the time that he played in the 60s to also the time that the ABA and the NBA had joined, okay, where they added things like the three-point dunk and those type of things, a fast break, okay, because the NBA before then, latter 70s was lame, okay, jogging up the court, trying to post up, doing all these plays in the 1950s and all that. He was able to see that, okay? Or when the CBA came, when you had more skilled players, the CBA is more like the G League or the D League when I tried out for a D League team in Reno about 20 years ago. All right. I got cut for busting somebody in the ear because he put me in the headlock on the baseline. Damn right I did. So I got thrown out of the camp. All right. I was about 275. I was manhandling guys. Okay. So he was able to see the game evolve. All right. What else? Particularly now with, okay, in this day, like say for example, like pay-per-view in sports. So it's not really about sports. It's about entertainment. Okay. Now sports and entertainment and also endorsements has all fused into one. Particular a TV deal when they did back in 2016. I think it was part of that CBA agreement, the older one, not the one that they have now. I think they're working on, or they already got the CBA agreement uh, going on right now. I believe that they already have the CBA, the new CBA agreement. Okay, so I think all in all, he's probably used to seeing maybe a so-called black man in his area a certain way, and then with the newer generations or whatever, maybe he's at the point where I don't know, maybe he just doesn't understand it, okay, or I don't know, maybe this time it just came and went. But the NBA is the NBA, you know, and I got to tell you that's a great series that's going on right now, you know. I don't know what happened in that Boston and Miami game, but that series, but that questions me. So that's just my thought. Okay, I don't think he's racist, but I think at times he does get complexitive issues. Okay, call it whatever you want to call it. All right, I've exceeded my time, y'all. Thank you for your time, for listening, and like and subscribe and share. Stay tuned for the next video.